Well, good evening, Broncos fans, and welcome to the Denver Bronco Roundup, brought to you by Rocky Mountain Sports Network. There's fashionably late, and then there is what we have going on this evening, which is terribly late. But IT, technical difficulties aside, I am your host Keith Brugman. Again, we are brought to you by the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. Check out Rocky Mountain Sports Network for all your Broncos, Nuggets, Avalanche, and Rockies at RockyMountainSN.com and Rocky Mountain Sports Network on Facebook, YouTube, and X, formerly known as Twitter. That aside, like I said, my name's Keith Brugman. I have our good friend Trevor Salzman here. I have our good friend Jody Moncrief. Trevor, say hello to Broncos country and maybe a big celebration after that win last night.
Yeah, welcome guys and girls, and thanks for sticking with us through these technical difficulties. It kind of happened a couple shows back, so kind of getting used to it now. Now you got the elite IT guy over here in Keith Brugman, so we got to figure it out. We didn't have to cancel no show or anything, so we got to figure it out. But no, just a great Broncos victory. It was great to be able to talk about another win, another impressive win. Going against the Buffalo Bills, taking care of business in Buffalo. This is exactly what this team needed, I think, to on the path to playoffs. We need these big victories. We need to make a stand. It's time to start changing the culture, and they did a great job last time doing that.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely culture-changing type of win. Stacking wins, as we talked about. Stacking one good thing on top of another, just like we're going to do right now. We're going to stack Trevor Salzman right on top of that with Jody Moncrief. Jody, welcome in, man. Say hello to Broncos country. And, man, what are your thoughts on this game? And then I'm going to hit into the comments after that, bud.
It's a culture-changing win. It's something that over the last 3-4 years, Denver has found multiple ways to lose games like this. We seen it last year, 8 games within 7 points. Start of the season here, Washington, the Raiders. But something changed. We got healthy on defense, made a couple adjustments to our secondary. Russ started playing smarter. Peyton finally, as stubborn as he was, decided we got to run the football. And that's turned everything around. And is Russ the old Russ? Hard to compare because we're in two totally different offenses. We're not throwing deep bombs and moonshots and different things. Russ is doing what he's asked to do, and he's doing it almost flawlessly, efficiently. 24 for 29. I don't care about pass yards. He's getting first downs when need be. He still can run and scramble. And he still can make electric plays, just like that 4th down touchdown to Sutton. Not many quarterbacks, one, elude the pass rush right in his face right off the bat, and 2, make that type of throw. So it's all coming together. There's still work to be done, but it's going to make for, what is there, 8 more games of exciting 8 weeks of the season.
An exciting 8 weeks of the season, man. And, Russ made a believer out of me. I called him my offensive MVP in our gut reaction show last night. And just out there doing amazing things that we need them to do, things that, winning quarterbacks do in order to make sure that their teams win. And talking about winners, man, we have Michael Ronquillo coming in here with a lot of love, coming in here with the orange and blue hearts, saying, "Good evening, Keith, Jody, and Trevor. Good evening to you, Michael. So great to see you. The Ronk is in the house, everybody. Coming in on YouTube. Appreciate you coming in here, buddy. Big applause for you." Got Jeremy coming in, saying, "Sup, fellas. Still jacked about that win. Big win. Big win is right, man." I was thinking about this. I talked about puffing out your chest, wearing your Broncos gear when we got that Packers win. At least we could do it. When it came to the Kansas City Chiefs, that was a game that we absolutely got a monkey off our back. I don't care if there was guys that were sick, whatever have you. That was a big win for our team. But there was questions. And then we came in here and we beat the Bills. Big win, man. Big win. And this is, no one can sit there and doubt the Broncos now. Doubt us when we beat the Packers, fine. Doubt us when we beat the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes is sick, fine. Okay, now we put three in a row and we just beat the Bills. So now how are you going to doubt us? Now how are you going to do it? No doubting the fandom of Pearl coming in here saying hello as well. Appreciate it so much. And Michael Ronquillo, and got to give him props. He's coming in here saying, "I called the winning play with the last-minute field goal from kicker Will Lutz, and the Broncos win before the NFL game against the Bills." Absolutely, man. Michael, you called your shot. You're like Babe Ruth up there at the plate, pointing it out there to left field, man. Way to do it, buddy. Didn't look always pretty from Will Lutz. Didn't look like, it didn't give me any confidence, let's put it that way. All the confidence that he built up over the weeks kind of took a little bit of a step backwards. Not taking a step backwards, I want to get over to Kurt Valente. And guys, I realized this after we got off our post-game gut reaction show. Didn't even give these guys any love. Kurt and Kenny are from the K&K Sports Show. They're an East Coast podcast team that does amazing things. They have a Broncos podcast on Wednesday. They have a Giants podcast. They have a Wits and Wagers. I'm telling you guys, if you like your sports, you need to check out the K&K Sports Show. He's coming in saying, "What's up, boys? Let's go. We brought in Russ Payton to beat Mahomes. Check. Beat Allen. Check. This is why we brought these guys in." Start back with Jody, man, because Russ, a lot of haters out there, a lot of haters still with even the performance that we saw last night, man. As Kurt is coming in here and saying, Russ and Peyton were brought in here to beat Mahomes. They were brought in here to be paired together to compete against the AFC West and the AFC in general. We're going to be competing a little bit against the AFC in the next few weeks, man. Why is there still so much hate, and what is it going to take for people to get off of Russ's back and get on his back, you know what I mean, and have that confidence in him like we have with other quarterbacks in the past for Broncos?
I don't know. I don't even know if it's Super Bowl at this point. They will find ways to. He didn't throw for 350 and 4 touchdowns. I don't know what people were expecting. If you go back and look at Russ throughout his career, I mean, you take out one COVID season where no fans were in the season where he put up ginormous passing yards. He's been a 34 to 3,800 100-yard pass season quarterback. It's just what he's been. So I don't know what people were expecting. How's Justin Herbert working out for the Chargers, throwing for 350 and 4 touchdowns? He doesn't lead you on big drives. He doesn't win games. He has a losing career overall record. So, and people will make excuses, bad coaching, whatever. He doesn't win. I'm reading some comments here. Don't act like Russ didn't do anything. All he did was flip the ball to Pirine. Yeah, Russ is about to get sacked, and he makes an incredible play not to get sacked, save time, and that's an incredible play to keep that drive alive. Did he take a sack, get him out of field goal range? Yeah, he did, but that was an all-out blitz. They brought it again. He was prepared for it and threw that ball up and got the PI call. It's what a good quarterback does. That's what an elite quarterback does. So I've gotten to the point whatever Russ is going to carry this team and whatever. He's going to continue to win, and
Jody's moved on.
I've moved on. I at this point, I don't even care. It's just these people just want clickbait to fire you up, and we'll take the W's and move on.
There you go, man. I think that's the biggest thing that came right at the very end, Jody. Don't take the clickbait, man. I mean, really let your eyes do, the evaluation. Here's a guy that went 24 to 29 of 29. He's doing what he's asked of. He's doing what he's told. And I thought of this, and then I'm going to get Trevor's comments on this as well. People talk about a game manager. A game manager doesn't go 24 for 29 for 2 TDs and 0 interception. A game manager does like 16 or 18 of 29, 2 TDs, 1 interception. That's a game manager. This was an elite performance by Russell Wilson. Hats off to him. I haven't always been on his back. I haven't always been the biggest Russ promoter, but this is a heck of a game, and people got to realize what we have in a quarterback, what's capable, and what we saw last night, it was tremendous, in my opinion. Trevor, you take it away. Are you going to continue? Are you going to be a Russ hater, or are you going to have a little bit of love and respect? Where do you come in? I don't want you to be too salty.
No, so I've never really been a Russ hater. I want to see what Russ does in this offense. I think I think a lot of other media outlets or other people that are really not on Russ's side, I think they really don't give him the benefit of the doubt. And okay, he is a veteran, but he's still going to take time for him to develop into this system. He's not even a year into it, and we're already judging him. Oh, we need to move on from him. Well, we want to go outside the Cleveland Browns, how Deshaun Watson's panning out right now. I mean, it could be a lot worse. And so I'm willing to ride the ship with Russ as long as he keeps performing. Now, is he missing some reads? Yes. Is he holding on the ball too much? Yes. But he's not also going to throw interceptions. What did Josh Allen do last night? Throw interceptions. He threw it away for this team. He got his by the way, got his OC fired today. Ken Dorsey's fired. I mean, I'm just saying, Russ is not. He's not maybe going to have all the right reads at the right time. He's not going to always throw all these flashy numbers out there, but he's going to win you games. You just proved now. You just beat the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills with him at quarterback, and he's not throwing those games away. He's allowing this team to do what they do best: play defense, run the ball, and when he needs to step up and make a throw, he does that. That's what he did last night. So,
I want to know the people that are on the fence with him. When he came here, what did you expect? Because if you expected 350 and 4 touchdowns, he never was that quarterback. So
yeah,
your expectations are out of whack. You can say, well, they overpaid for a game manager, whatever. He was the fastest to 100 wins. He's been to 2 Super Bowls, won 1. He puts up top 10 numbers when you're throwing 35 to 3,800 and 30 plus touchdowns every year and rating over 100. Whatever. What if you expected that, then you got sold a bill of goods and whatever, because it's not the quarterback that he has ever been. He's putting up numbers just like he always has. You can say he holds the ball too long. He held the ball too long in Seattle. That's what he did. Say this isn't the old Russ. You can't make that comparison because we're not throwing the ball down the field, running. This is the type of offense Peyton wants Russ to run, and he is running it. Is he running it perfectly? No. But go watch Drew Brees year 1, and you see a lot of similarities. So it's going to take time and complain, because I think Russ, if this continues, Russ is going to be here for a while.
I'm going to go ahead and I want to wrap up this topic. Maybe give Trevor one more second if he has something he wants to chime in on, because, I don't want this to go down the bad path. Again, 3-game winning streak. We're on the right path. Playoffs are, in the horizon. We can see them out there. Some teams are losing that we didn't expect to be losing right now. Things are kind of coming together to where we can definitely be in the hunt. So I don't want this to be a Debbie Downer type of show on Russell Wilson. I will say two things. If I was going to say two somewhat negative things, or at least explain to Jody what maybe people thought. People thought they were going to get bombs to Tyler Lockett. People thought they were going to get bombs to DK Metcalf. That's not something we've seen in this offense. But you can't necessarily draw that up, and for those who are maybe not in tune with it, you can't sit there and say that's a Russell Wilson problem. That's not a Russell Wilson problem. That's a Sean Payton problem. That's what's being drawn up. There's no way that you're bringing in, an extra offensive lineman and also getting explosive plays like that down the field. It doesn't come out of those type of sets, or if it does, it comes so rarely to come out of single or just 2 wide receiver sets. You're asking a lot of that wide receiver in order to get open, and you're asking Russell Wilson to check into that play and have confidence that that's going to be the thing. What we're seeing is a lot of, run through the pass. We're seeing a lot of more check down type of offense, but more than anything, hey, how many touchdowns, how many interceptions for Russell Wilson? That's what we're seeing. We're seeing someone that can go out there and efficiently operate this team and is higher than a game manager. So don't be mad if you're not seeing deep ball Russ. Now, the one criticism that I'll have, I do feel like he does have happy feet in the pocket just a little bit. Feel like if he could remain in the pocket just a half a second longer sometimes and keep his eyes down the field. That being said, he's playing fantastic ball. He's not throwing interceptions. He's not taking big sacks. He's maybe only getting a yard or 2 or 3, in a run himself, but he's not hurting the team in doing it necessarily, but I think he could make bigger plays if he didn't have those happy feet. Trevor, I'm going to kick it over to you, and then we're going to
have one other thing.
But you're going to get Trevor's thought first, man. I guarantee, and then we'll go over to Jody. Okay, man.
Yes, I was going to say, so kind of going off your guys' points, being kind of positive for us today. He's 10th in all time in fourth quarter comebacks with 30. So you join Philip Rivers, John Elway, Dan Marino, all those guys. What are those guys? Those aren't game managers. I mean, that's what I'm saying. And Russ, he does have happy feet a lot of times. We've seen it yesterday, and that's why I say he didn't make that throw to Courtland Sutton because he had happy feet. Now, I'm okay if he makes those mistakes if he makes up for those. If he makes some mistakes and he's not making up for those, like he threw the Sutton ball, which was a beautiful thrown ball, by the way. And so that was a game-changing play. He made up for that. That happy feet throw he made to Sutton, that was going to be your first down if that throw was on target. I do agree with that. So he didn't get that. But again, he's got to continue to some of the mistakes he does make, because again, he's not going to be a perfect quarterback. He can still be a Russell Wilson type of quarterback to have this team to win, but he can't do that and then not make up for those mistakes that he does make, because again, holding on the ball too long and gets happy feet. I don't think he's exactly fully comfortable in this offense yet. That's why I say, and I've been saying this whole time, screw the whole Jared Stidham talk. Give Russ a full season. Let's see him in his offense the full season. These are human beings at the end of the day. They, just like a rookie quarterback would. Give him some time to figure out this offense before we assess the Russell Wilson situation and say, either way, which, whoever anybody's going for, either that's pro Russ or against Russ, give him time. Let's find out in a full year offense under Sean Payton.
Very good, man. Full year, give him the whole time, give him the time to develop in this system. You never know what's going to be possible. Well said, man. It's not time to move on. Didn't mean to cut you off, Jody. Did want to get Trevor's thoughts on that, man. So jump in. I do want to say, Pearl's saying, in horses' terms, we call it an honest horse. One that does what you ask and gives 100% all the time. Russ is an honest QB. Well said, Pearl. And I like your affiliation with the horses and the way that you related it there, man. Jody, what?
I had two
Sorry to
things.
cut you off. Go ahead, man.
We have nice receivers here, but look at what DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are elite wide receivers. We don't have that here. We don't have that. So he had guys that could make plays in Seattle. So it made it a lot easier. And two, true Bronco fans don't want to hear this, but why don't you go look at John Elway's stats, Super Bowl 32. That's a game manager. 115 yards, one interception, no touchdowns.
Mm.
And he's the GOAT. And I'm a huge Elway fan, but let's be real. He did what he had to do to win a Super Bowl. Just like what I don't understand if Russ throws 4 touchdowns and 350 yards last night. What does that do? If you lose the game, so what?
Yeah,
he won. He won the game.
Yeah, it's not all about the stats. I remember when I first got into podcasting, I had a guy that would jump in the comments all the time. He would he would always call me out on that because I'm like, hey, look at this guy, XYZ stats. He's like, man, it's not all about the stats. It's not all about the stats, and it's 100% true. You can't just look at stats and go back and say, oh, this guy threw for under 200 yards, must not be that great of a quarterback. No, that's not the case, man, because there's a lot more when you look at the tape, when you see what happens. And a few things that we saw that happened.
That's the same guy that says, don't look at the stats and then uses stats on you when the stats are.
Well, there's sometimes that is the case.
Threw only under 200 yards. Well, don't look at the stats.
Yeah. I will say the one that was calling me out was consistent on this, and it'd have me take a different perspective and a different look at things, and that is a good thing to look at because you can get wrapped up in stats. Hey, I'm a fantasy football guy. I do that on the side as well. It's easy to get wrapped up in the stats and just look at that and say, that's a good quarterback, this is a good running back, that's an excellent wide receiver. Well, how did it actually play out? How did it look like on the field? Did they have leadership? Did they help their team? Are they hurting their team? You can have a wide receiver that goes out there, has a fantastic day, hurts his team every single week. So, stats can't be everything. Stats are important. It's a great way to start to look at a player, but it's not the end-all, be-all. You had to see what's on the field, man. Seeing what's on the field, man, we had a lot of fantastic players, man. And I just want to get to a few of them. So I'm going to start off with Trevor. And Trevor, outside of Russell Wilson, start naming off, and I'll give you the number one choice of outstanding player from this last game that just went off, that impressed you. Could be somebody that was in the trenches, maybe not everybody realized. Maybe it was somebody that was obvious to everyone that was tuning in at home, because I think the viewership was off the charts. But that being said, man, somebody outstanding from this game outside of Russell Wilson. We've had enough of Russell Wilson. Not that there's not great things to say, because he did fantastic.
Yeah, it's really hard because this game, I think it was just more of a unit type thing. I don't think anybody, in my opinion, just kind of went off in this game. I would say it's more of a unit thing, but I think if I had to choose anybody, I would say I just really like Zach Allen. I really like what he's been able to do. Maybe the stats are gonna. This goes back to the whole stats thing. Stats just do matter up to a point. Because Zach Allen, now he might not be putting up elite stats all the time, but he's a guy that's really, I think, stepped up for this defense. Has really helped them in a lot of different ways. This is the reason why they're stepping up in a lot of different ways. He's winning up front, those up front battles. He's getting in the quarterback's face. He's stopping the run. A lot of that different stuff you need on your defense. And I think I just give a lot of credit to Zach Allen, because here's the thing. I was a Zach Allen hater in the beginning. Not a hater, I would say. I was really critical of him in the beginning. But I'm really starting to come around on him like, maybe VJ's onto something. Zach Allen, I think he's the guy that this team needed, and he's played far better than I thought he would a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, Zach Allen, especially with the way he started off this season, the way he's progressed, the way he's played these last few weeks, he was a big piece in this defense, was asked to step up and take a big role, played very, very well. Wasn't perfect. That defensive line could use a little bit of help here and there, but especially against the run. But that being said, Zach Allen has been playing quite well. Pearl Heater's coming in and saying, I'm not a big fan of Sutton, but that catch, OMG. Yeah. That pass, that catch, I mean, just to be able to put that pass in the place that it was needed from Russell Wilson was amazing. Off balance, running left, throwing right, going to the ground, and then to put it where it needed to be, but barely where it needed to be. I mean, Courtland Sutton did everything he needed and was needed in order to get his feet in, get the ball secured, and get it secured timely. Let's not mince words here, man. If there was one little bobble in there, that is not a touchdown. That would have been easily ruled an incomplete pass, just like it was ruled on the field. Fantastic catch, and yeah, Pearl, that's got to be up there with one of those players that need recognition. Jody, hopefully we haven't taken two of your players off. Zach Allen, Pearl's coming in here talking about Sutton. You can certainly talk about one of those two players or another one if you wish. Who do you have for us, bud?
The whole secondary. We didn't get a lot of pass rush. We had 0 sacks. But the secondary played great. Shut down Diggs. 2 interceptions. I just thought the whole secondary played great. Minus one drive when they kind of let Kincaid go off. They played their butts off all game, especially getting 0 pass rush.
Yeah, I mean, I think they played a little bit, conservative at times. I think they weren't trying to bring the house. They certainly weren't bringing the 0 blitz like the Bills did on back-to-back plays, which ended up burning them on the second time. But that being said, this secondary, they played lights out because, and I just want to recognize Jeremy coming in and talking about the Sutton catch, saying that was an incredible catch. But, talking about incredible catches and going into that secondary, I'm gonna talk about him again tonight, guys. Fabian Moreau is just amazing to me. The way he sat back, watched, and saw Josh Allen, throw that ball, get that interception right at the end of the half, put us in position to put another 3 points up on the board. That was huge at that point. Fabian Moreau has been playing fantastic. He's playing opposite of Patrick Surtain most of the time and playing lights out, man. That's not an easy place to be. PS2 is going to lock down a lot of people. It was somebody else. Oh, it was Kurt that was coming in here and saying, Surtain, Diggs, quiet night, lock down corner. Absolutely. Diggs, last time I checked, I think he had 3 catches last time I looked. May have ended up with 4, but we're talking about the premier wide receiver on the Buffalo Bills, the guy they want to get the ball to. I know their tight end Kincaid has been coming on big, but come on, let's face it. You want to get it to Stephon Diggs, and we pretty much shut him down. But at the same time, Gabe Davis didn't go off either. Gabe Davis is who Fabian Moreau is going to be matched up on. So I got to give my love to Fabian Moreau. I didn't give him enough credit. And I'm going to start off the second round because, and we'll go around the horn again. I'll go back around to Jody. Jaquan McMillian. This is a guy. You don't like my pronunciation?
Man, I don't know what it is with Bronco players, but why they couldn't pronounce Alberto's last name?
You want to give it a shot? You want to give me a shot on Albert O's last name?
Yeah.
Thank goodness he's on Philly. Okay. That being said, I even had another podcaster that said, hey, I tried to go all the way back to college film to try to get the correct pronunciation. I would think that the Monday Night Football guys went out and asked him, but maybe we're wrong. It's not easy to get Jaquan number 38 McMillian, however you want to say his name. I can tell you last year when people started talking about him, I was saying, no way. He's too small. He plays too small. He's fast and he's quick, but he can't tackle. and he has completely changed it around in a year. So again, keying on that secondary, I'm not going to give any offensive guys any more love. I'll leave it up to you guys, because that's my second guy, man. That's my second guy that really has been playing fantastic and surprising me in his second year. So I think I got another one. Yeah, see, I'm not the only one. However you say his name, Jaquan McMillian.
If you are going to say someone on the O, I will give.
All right, man, it's your turn. So yeah, go ahead.
Quinn Miners. I mean, there's some videos out there. He literally was shoving guys and just throwing them basically to the ground.
Yeah,
he was opening big holes. Quinn Miners is by far Denver's best offensive lineman. It's not even close. And you could see it. They were running the ball to the right side and a lot.
Remember who drafted him? Just saying. Remember who drafted him?
Oh, getting a little salty with little GM George Payton, man. But, man, Quinn Miners, man, he's been playing fantastic. And talk about a guy that always plays with passion. I mean, here's a guy that plays to the whistle, through the whistle, maybe a little bit beyond the whistle. He's the guy always in there dusting off players and getting them off his own players. He's the guy helping the other guy up, maybe pushing the other guy player down. He is mixed up in it, and not just up in it, for the fun of it. He's out there and he's getting the job done. He's getting second level. He's getting blocks on linebackers, and he's opening up holes. And by far, I would agree with you, Jody, one of our best offensive linemen that we've had on this offensive line for the entire year. If you talk about game 1 through game, 9? Sorry, they're all mixing together now. Game 9, by far, our best. Speaking of one of our best, and then I'm going to get over to Trevor, we got the fantastic Patrick Wilsey. He came in here a little bit earlier saying aloha, gents, all the way from Hawaii. Was chatting with him before we got into this chat, into the podcast. He's saying, I'm going to tune in on my drive home. Well, drive safely. Hopefully you're using your talks to text in order to get all these comments coming through. And he's also saying, Cook scared me. Yeah, there was a reason to have Cook scare you, especially in that second half, man. But that being said, I wanted to get to that comment, but I wanted to get to also Trevor's number 2, outstanding player outside of Russell Wilson, which we kind of went off on to be in.
You want to go offense or defense of the ball, or either?
Either side, man. Like I said, I kind of racked up the defense.
Yeah.
That's, I think, why Jody went Quinn Miners to give a little love on offense. We've been giving some. You got Zach Allen to begin with. We could probably get a little offensive love if you have it, but if not, if you have an outstanding player on defense like Michael Ronquillo coming in with a Justin Simmons nomination, I understand that.
That's why I was going to give Justin Simmons a little nod, but I'm going to give Alex Singleton a little bit if I'm going to stick with defense. Offense again, it's a little hard because, I mean, if I'm going to give anything, be probably Garrett Bowles. I would say I think he held up pretty well against that pass rush there in Buffalo. But honestly, it's really hard because not a whole lot of people stuck out in this game. I think it was just a unit type of game. Everybody together. It was a game, truly a team win in this game. But if I would say, Justin Simmons for sure, but I think Alex Singleton, just the way he contained, and linebackers don't get a lot of love, the way he contained Josh Allen, he almost got an interception in this game. So, that would have been huge if he got his toe in bounds. But, I think Alex Singleton, just the way he was contained, and Josh Allen, I think it really messed him up in this game.
Alex Singleton was also the guy who recovered that fumble that came from Josh Allen on that handoff as well, man. Always seems to be on, in, around, near the ball, leading in tackles. Just has a nose for it, man.
Yeah.
Knows where things are at. And hey, went to played college for the Montana State University Bobcats. So my team, gotta love some Alex Singleton, and gotta love some Kenny Kirkpatrick coming in here. And I don't think any of us are going to disagree with Kenny coming in here. He says, how about some love for Javonte Williams? Not the flashiest of games, but got hard yards to wear a defense down, man. I was telling my wife, goodness gracious, man. Here's a guy that tore 3 different ligaments in his knee. If I remember, ACL, MCL, LCL, comes back and looks like he did. And as Kenny pointed out, not just flashy yards, not just fast yards, just not easy ones where he gets to go out of bounds, hard fought yards into the nose of the defense. Yeah, Javante's for sure. Not maybe the flashiest game, but an impressive game, man. Anybody else have anything to say about Javante Williams?
I'll say this. I mean, I think Javante definitely just like him just being healthy out there and holding up. And yeah, he did get some hard yards out there. Again, this game, the Broncos didn't run the ball particularly great in this game. So it's hard to give him a big nod over anybody else, like Garrett Bowles or like Quentin Myers or some of the guys on the line.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to give Javante the big nod in this one because the Broncos weren't really – it wasn't their best rushing game by far, I would say. And they kind of struggled to run the ball there.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeremy coming in saying he was impressed with P. Ryan, thought he had a pretty decent game. Again, nothing that's going to blow the stats off, but just a hard, tough game, and P. Ryan's that type of player. A hard, tough running back, matched up well in this game and got the job done when he called upon. Jody, any thoughts on Javante, on Pookie?
Pass blocking, it's something that's very underlooked. And one play sticks out to me. McMillan, he got blown up when the whistle got blown on that false start. That is the reason he is not on the field as much. They trust that's a unsung hero type thing. Pick up a block and whatever.
Yep.
Or make that catch. I mean, he made a couple Russ under duress for that touchdown. Made that catch.
Yep.
Just little things that go unnoticed like that. I don't care about 3.8. It's what 3.8 did for you. Time of possession, ball control. You're averaging close to 4. 4 plus 3 is 12, and you're moving the chains.
There you go, buddy. Well said, man, because whether it's wearing them down, as Kenny Kirkpatrick said, or just doing what is needed, you know what I mean? Just doing what you're expected to do and go out there, and maybe it's only 3.8 yards, but you're catching those balls, you're throwing those blocks, you're doing all the things that you need in order to get this team in the position in order to win. And that's something that they did, and it's not going to show up on the stat sheet. Pearl's coming in with big hearts on that one. This is Michael Ronquillo coming in, pointing out a good one. Von Miller only had 1 tackle against the Broncos. Von Miller didn't feel like playing against the Broncos. I don't know if Von Miller is there yet. I don't know if Von Miller will ever be there again. Von Miller is starting to age, unfortunately. It would have been almost great to kind of see him at least get 1 great move, 1 great sack, 1 great tackle, even though it would have been against the Broncos. It's Von Miller. But Von Miller did not look like he looked like a shell of himself. Maybe he can make a difference down in the end, but towards the end of the season, get a little bit healthier, get his legs underneath him. But right now, that's not the case right now. So,
yeah,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, Von, and a lot of people were. I mean, before I came on the show, of course, I'm on Twitter, so a lot of people were really kind of like they're wanting Von back when before we got Randy Gregory, and that's my biggest concern with Von was his injury history and just him aging. So we're starting to see that right now, and unfortunately for Von's sake, I think it's getting pretty tough for him to see the production, and I don't think he will ever be Von Miller in Denver. I don't think we will ever see that for Von Miller again, but I do think he can still be have some sort of productivity. It's just not going to be what he was in Denver, in my opinion.
A thought that actually came up before we went on the show, one that Jody brought up, Michael Ronquillo coming in saying P.J. Locke left the game against the Bills with an ankle injury, and now he has a boot on it. Jody, you pointed that out, man. Safety is not a place that we feel like we have a ton of depth. Talk about P.J. Locke and his possible loss and what we can do to maybe recover there.
I think it is a big loss. He's more athletic back there, more of a rangy player than Kareem Jackson. And you definitely could see it when he went out. him to Darian Turner-Yell. There was a difference there. On the plus side, he did try to test it out in the second half, so I don't. If there was something major wrong with it, I don't think they would have tested it out. And Justin Simmons comes back off suspension.
Kareem Jackson.
Kareem Jackson. I think he may be hungry, knowing that he has all but lost his spot. Will that fire him up to, regain it right now if Locke does miss time?
All right. I want to, we're 4 minutes into the show, man. We've talked a lot about this Buffalo Bills. It was a fantastic win. We talked about it, man. It's a culture-changing win. It's one that we talk about stacking wins. The Broncos have talked about stacking wins. Russ has talked about stacking wins, and this was huge, man. This is exactly what we needed. But now we're going to be going into, the next part of our schedule, and not an easy part. All of a sudden, Josh Dobbs heads over to the Minnesota Vikings, wins a couple of games, but those 2 games aren't the only thing. They're on a 5-game winning streak as of right now. That's our next opponent. We welcome them at home. They come to Mile High. So, Trevor, Matt, what are your just initial thoughts as we start to? We'll have a pregame show. We'll really break this down, but what are your initial thoughts, man, as the Vikings come to town and this matchup that we'll have against them?
Yeah, that's a team that's again, I think a lot of credit goes to their coach, head coach Kevin O'Connell. I think he's done a great job with that team. Anytime you can get a quarterback, you trade for a quarterback and bring him in, and he just fits in like your system like a glove. I think it's absolutely great. Obviously, it's going to be a tough matchup for the Broncos, but again, they're on the winning streak themselves. So I mean, you just won. Kind of backtrack, you wish he Kansas City, you just beat Buffalo. So I don't see why this game couldn't be any different. You should still have the same mindset. This team is definitely beatable. I mean, there's that they're really good on both sides of the ball, but so are you right now. I mean, I guess Broncos offense is exactly where it should be at right now, but the defense is playing elite. Let's see if Dobbs can handle that here in Denver. I mean, let's see if he can handle the pressure coming in Mile High City. You're facing the defense that's just completely shut down Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. Let's think about that from the Minnesota side of things.
There you go, bud. I like it. Jody, this defense of the Minnesota Vikings has been doing enough in order to keep them in games. Josh Dobbs has been playing fantastic the last couple of outings and got them wins. And then add on top of it, Justin Jefferson looks like he's poised to come back as we welcome them in again to Mile High. How do we match up against this Viking teams, and is there a possibility of us continuing the streak, putting 4 wins in a row up on the tally board?
I think there is. Just continue to do what we do. Ball control. Sean Payton needs to stay committed to the run like he has been. Let Russ pick his moments. And if teams want to continue, if we start stacking 8-9 in the box, then that's when you'll see Russ throw deep. Sean Payton is not just going to run into 8 or 9 guys just to run it. You can see he's starting to trust Russ more and some different stuff. So that's how you win this. I don't worry about Josh Dobbs. You just shut down probably 2 of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. Shut down Diggs. You really shut down Kelsey. What is Jefferson coming off this injury? I'm not worried. You have a lockdown corner. That's what you didn't. Many teams tried to trade for him. That's why you didn't trade for him for moments just like this.
Well said, man. Well said. I mean, PS2 is going to be big going up against Justin Jefferson. I mean, there's no bigger matchup out there than probably those two going up against each other. Speaking of matchups and knowing the ins and outs, Kenny's coming in and saying short week could be tough, but the Vikings are an indoor team. Surface change from turf to grass, as the great Joey Clams would say. And if anybody wants to interpret that, Clams is the other side of Wits and Wagers on the K&K Sports Show. He knows the details like that, going from the indoor turf, going to that grass surface. Hey, man, There was a reason that the Rams were called the greatest show on turf and not the greatest show on grass, because they performed well on that turf. They performed well in St. Louis at that time. Not always the case when they had to go to those natural surfaces. Not always the case when they had to go to cold weather climates. Don't know what Denver's going to look like on Sunday night, but expect it to be a little bit different than an indoor dome in Minnesota. So excited to see what this Denver Bronco team can do. I'm a big Kevin O'Connell fan. He was my choice for Denver Broncos head coach when the coaching carousel and Kevin O'Connell was out there and the whole 9 yards. So he is a fantastic coach in my opinion. That being said, run game hasn't been fantastic for them. Defense has struggled from time to time. Michael Ronquillo's coming in and letting us know, however, the Vikings have the highest rated blitz percentage in the NFL. Watch out for the blitz packages from this defense. So that's something that we're going to have to watch out for. But I have confidence in this team. Why not? As Jody pointed out, man, if you're worried about Josh Dobbs, why? You just beat Josh Allen. You just beat Patrick Mahomes, man. So don't get wrapped up in the hype of a Josh Dobbs. Just don't get wrapped up in your own hype. You'll have to go out there. You'll still have to play a great game, but it's completely possible to take home a win. I'm going to go back to Jody and then bring her back around to Trevor as well, man. After that game, though, it doesn't get much easier. I'm going to wrap these two together. Browns and Texans are the next two. Browns just knocked off a formidable team, and the Texans did too this last week. So Browns went out there and beat the Baltimore Ravens. Texans go out and they beat the Cincinnati Bengals. Doing this all from memory, not too bad for an old guy. So these guys, these are two teams that have come on, are playing well. Defense has been playing well for the Cleveland Browns. Stroud's looking like obvious rookie of the year as far as the quarterback down for the Texans, man. If we can put 4 wins together, can we put 5 or 6? Jody, I'm going to go to you first.
Yeah, I don't see why not. Continue to do what you've been doing. Yes, Buffalo's been struggling a little bit lately, but we watched this Buffalo team hand it to Miami, a team that put it to us week 3. So let's don't. You're gonna let people hear, "Oh, Allen's hurt." You're gonna hear all these excuses why Denver won. Don't. That's clickbait. Don't fall for it. Denver is doing what they need to do to win, and there's really no team out there, if you play like this, that is just going to walk all over Denver. Have faith in your Super Bowl winning quarterback and head coach.
I like that, man. Yeah, I mean, people need to also remember, right? Super Bowl winning quarterback, Super Bowl winning head coach. There's a lot of things that are going now in our favor all of a sudden. Don't forget how that bedrock was laid down. It's not laid down on a false foundation. These guys are true, proven commodities in the NFL, and it's a great place to be able to put those, those pieces of loyalty, those pieces of hope, you know what I mean, into such a great foundation. So, Trevor, man, your thoughts on these next 2 games after the Vikings, the Browns, the Texans? Are we talking about a 6-game winning streak?
Yeah, the Texans, they really, I mean, that's a team of the year, in my opinion. They really flipped the script. I mean, they weren't even supposed to be as good as they are right now. A lot of credit to another D'Amico Ryan, another head coach that I really liked when, this last coaching cycle, and give a lot of credit to him and just what he's done with that team. And, Stroud looks great, but they really put a team around him as well. I would say, I mean, even if you can go 2-3 off that, I will take that. I mean, of course we want the winning streak to get the team to exist, but at some point in time, this team's going to face adversity. To me, Cleveland, that's a team that their defense is playing elite. That's a team that their defense is set up for the Super Bowl. Problem is they have one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL, and Deshaun Watson. I mean, he's time to time he's been all right, but I mean, you're talking about game manager right now, he looks like that to me, and you can take advantage of that. Talk about a quarterback that with a lot of turnovers. He can be a guy that turns the ball over as well and make mistakes. And you just face that off against that with Josh Allen. Why would things change? You just beat really arguably probably two top five quarterbacks, just like Jody said. Why couldn't you do that against CJ Stroud, who's a rookie? Yeah, he's been playing great this year. why could you do that against him? And why could you do that? Damn sure couldn't do that against Deshaun Watson because Deshaun Watson's been bad this year. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think you just look down to it, and there was a question up here just a little bit earlier, and I believe it was coming in from Kenny. Won't go back to it exactly, but he asked, hey, do you still want Rex Ryan as your defensive coordinator? Well,
No.
I don't think any of us need to go back to that conversation.
No.
As much as some of us may have been reactionary as far as Vance Joseph is concerned, let's face it, this defense has played lights out. I don't care if it's the last 3 games we're talking about. I don't care if it's about, the game against Kansas City we lost, because that was a hard-fought game. We may have had a couple of stumbles at the very beginning of the season, but let's put those in the past. This defense has really been the backbone for this entire team. You add on the way that this offense has started coming around, the way that they've been able to perform in second halves, the way that they've been able to keep the pressure on, the opposing team, even when we fall behind and we're down 15-22. That would have been a place that this team had crumbled in the past. It's why we're talking about this being a team win for the Denver Broncos. It was played on all 3 aspects of the game: offense, defense, special teams. They all played a part in making sure we got a win. And I think you start playing like that, then why can't you win against the Vikings? Why can't you win against the Browns? Why can't you win against the Texans? I don't know if we'll go on another 3-game winning streak after just beating the Bills here, but that being said, I wouldn't rule it out either. And if we're talking about all of a sudden being on a 6-game winning streak, boy, talking about a conversation changing about a team, the Denver Broncos would be on the tips of a lot of people's tongues, and quite honestly, we'd be able to sling a lot of mud at them because they didn't have a lot of faith in them to begin the year, especially a lot of those major national media pundits. So, guys, we are up on 52 minutes. That's really a ton of what I had to go on this evening, but I want to short you guys. Jody, I'm going to start over with you. I'm going to give you not only final words, but we have a little extra time, man. Is there any additional topics that we missed that we need to get to, that we need to talk about? And then, like I said, feel free to wrap in some final comments. I'll go over to Trevor, bring it back around to me, and we're going to get out of here. Expect to have a fantastic week leading up to Sunday night.
No, I'm just excited. Hope is back in Broncos country. Let's see if it can continue. True Bronco fans don't fall for the clickbait of you got to have all this 300 pass yards and 4 touchdowns. What you got to have is wins, and that's what we're doing. And continue to play like this and keep stacking things together. This team is talented. I said it from the beginning when everyone said blow it up. We got to get all these draft picks. Draft picks for what? Just to get rid of guys to get picks. You have talented guys here that didn't know how to win. You had some guys that did, McGlinchey, Wilson, Peyton, but a culture change, and that's what Peyton's brought. Whatever your opinions are on him, whatever, but he definitely has done a 180 from what this culture was last year, and keep riding the momentum.
I want to get your thoughts really quick on this because we have one of our fantastic fans, one of our fantastic supporters coming in. He wanted thoughts on one last thing. So I want to get both your thoughts, and then I'll go over to Trevor, gets his final thoughts, final topics, but his thoughts on this as well. He's coming in, Michael Ronquillo's coming in and saying, thoughts on wide receiver Marvin Mims' recent play on the Broncos offense. Now, he had been kind of missing in the Broncos offense, and all of a sudden, as Sean Payton kind of predicted a little bit, he shows up. He was on the field for 69% of the plays last night. What are your thoughts on his recent play? Because it doesn't look like it's necessarily been productive on the offensive side of things, even with 69% last night.
Yeah, I would say.
I wanted to get Jody's, and then I'll go to
sorry.
Trevor. I'm sorry, man.
No, you're good.
Well, he hasn't put up big stats, but he's doing what's asked. He's not complaining like you see from a lot of other wide receivers when he's not getting the ball. He knows in due time plays will be coming his way. Teams are going to eventually start stacking this box 8-9 deep, and he better be ready because Russ can throw the ball deep, and I do think you will see some shots. And don't overlook what he's doing on special teams. He is flipping the field. Whether we're scoring or not, that's for another discussion. But he's flipping the field, and when you're playing this kind of football, that's huge. Flipping the field.
Yeah, big returns last night, and not to be overlooked. Trevor, not to cut you off, go over to you. Your thoughts on Mims, and then, like I said, any other thoughts that you may have, any other topics as well.
Yeah, so with Marvin Mims, I think it's something to point out here. I mean, yeah, the Broncos traded up for him, this last offseason, but they've really maybe not used him as we thought they would offensively. But his return game, it's something that we definitely have lacked over the past couple of years, and we've tried to hit on different players. I mean, John Elway in the draft, he's tried to find an elite kick returner, or in free agency, or however you can find an elite kick returner with speed. We've got that with Marvin Mims. He's impacting that this season. He's not returned. He's not Marvin Harrison, but or not Devin Hester. My fault. Devin Hester. He's not Devin Hester, but he's a guy that is explosive. He has that explosive ability where special teams, they're gonna have to start, really remembering this is a guy who can take it to the house. I mean, he's got that ability. So you have that. That's just really explosive. And I would say down the line, getting him more snaps, I think is great because hopefully you can get him, get him involved in the offense a little bit more going forward in the season. Maybe not even this season. Maybe it's next season. However they get him involved, I trust that there's a plan in place with him, being that they stepped up this last offseason and they traded up for him. So there's some sort of plan. Maybe it's just not as quick as we thought, but I would say give it time. There's still at least 3 more years with this guy on this roster that you can see the productivity from overall wise.
Patience. But yeah, Marvin Mims producing fantastic on special teams, getting more and more opportunities with offensive snaps. We saw a big jump this last week, man. Anything else you want to talk about, Trevor, before we get out of here? If not, I'm going to get wrapped up, but don't want to cut you short either. Oh, yeah, by the way, real quick, Michael Ronquillo saying, great show, Keith, Jody, and Trevor. Also, Pearl coming in and saying, thank you for a fantastic show. Lots of hearts and big smiley faces. Big hearts and smiley faces to you as well, Pearl. But go ahead, Trevor.
Yeah, I also want to give a shout out to Pearl's onion rings too. Winning onion rings. I mean, I'm just going to say that. So I can't leave the show without saying that. But I'm just going to say, no, just look what this team's doing. I mean, you have a competent head coach now with this team. It's turned the tides now. This team was basically the same team last year. You had Nathaniel Hackett. What's going on with Nathaniel Hackett right now? Oh, wait, he's getting. I mean, a lot of Jets fans are calling for his head right now. So what I would say is, you have a competent head coach in Sean Payton. He knows what to do with this offense, knows what to do with this team. He wants to get the most out of these guys. Everybody doubted the VJ and I was part of that. Look right now, he's looking right now. It looks smarter and smarter, with that VJ get on the DC. So I would say just stay patient. I would say with Sean Payton, let's continue to believe there's a plan in place. Also, want to give a shout out to George Payton because George Payton, let's face it, a lot of these picks are panning out to where when he was GM, he had called the shots, quote unquote, and these were George Payton guys. So we can knock George Payton, but I want to give him praise right now because this team is winning, and there are players that are being productive that were George Payton guys as well. So I want to give some love to Sean Payton, but I also want to give some love to George Payton because I think that he's a guy that great talent evaluator, and I think Sean Payton, that duo right there, I think has a chance to be something special if they continue to believe in each other and continue this great path in the next era of Denver Bronco football.
I love it, man. I love some stability. I was starting to wonder whether, your mom's maiden name was maybe Peyton or something like that, but, wrapped it all out pretty well, man. I agree, man. Things are coming around. Players are looking good. Draft picks are starting to pay out and pay off, man. And just want to get to Kenny again, part of the great K&K Sports Show. He's coming in saying, I'm not lying when I tell you that this team reminds me of the Giants' last Super Bowl team. Spags, now the Chiefs' defensive corner, led our defense and we were historically bad for 3 games. Turned it around and won a Super Bowl as a 6th seed against them undefeated Patriots. Go Broncos. And as he kind of mentioned before, we now have to refer to him as the stepfather. Kind of like the Godfather, but he's taken on to the Denver Broncos as his kind of a stepchild, so he's now the stepfather for thank you, stepfather. Thank you, stepfather. We'll have to kiss his ring a little bit later. This, guys, I'll have to get into a little bit later, but Patrick Wilsey saying coffee time, boys. I think that may have been about the same time that Jody was yawning. Not to keep you, not to call you out there, but yeah, I think it is about coffee time for about all of us. We'll talk a little bit more about that offline as well, though. Pearl's coming in and saying, enjoy that Hawaiian Kona coffee. Absolutely. Guys, I think we're going to get out of here. A few more comments coming in here. Kenny's coming in here and saying, go Broncos, much love to you 3. And Dutchie, sorry the Dutchie couldn't make it. Dutchie's doing bigger, better, and greater things as he's calling on the Lord right now. So that being said, he'll be back. He'll be here shortly with us and back in the rotation. So thank you so much for calling that out and talking about Dutchie. We appreciate it. Michael Ronquillo coming in and saying, Broncos country, this is the way. Guys, I just want to say really quickly, we are brought to you by the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. Rocky Mountain Sports Network is your hub, is your home for all your Broncos, Avalanche, what else? Nuggets and Rockies. Sorry, it was almost like the teleprompter was a little slow. The Nuggets and the Rockies coverage. But we cover all of your Colorado Rockies sports, all your major sports. Check out RockyMountainSN.com. That's RockyMountainSN.com. That'll take you right to the website and keep you up to speed on all the major things. You can check out Rocky Mountain Sports Network on Facebook, just in groups. You can check them out on X. You can check them out on YouTube. You can check them out on Apple Podcast, and especially right now, keep up to date on all your latest Avalanche news on the podcast. Also, Willow Seasonings and Blends, fantastic sponsor for us right now. Willow Seasonings is a fantastic Colorado seasonings and sauce company, guys. Fantastic Blue Ribbon award-winning. They have fantastic sauces and spices. My goodness, just like there's SPG, which is their salt, pepper, and garlic, or maybe their Memphis rub. And I'm telling you guys, it is fantastic. Head over to willowseasonings.com, type in the promo code DBR2023, and save yourself 15% off your checkout purchase. So again, willowseasonings.com, fantastic. Spice up your life. Head over there today and spice up your life. Don't forget DBR 2023, guys.
We need some of that coffee.
I definitely need some of that coffee, man. Need something. Need something like Jeremy coming in here. And again, thank you for your support coming in here and saying, go Broncos. Thank you, guys. Go Broncos as well. I'm not going to get to everybody, but I can tell you that Michael Ronquillo was in here earlier. Jeremy Dressler was in here. Pearl was in here. We had, who else do we have? Kurt and Kenny of the fantastic K&K Sports Show, just blowing up the message board. We had Patrick Wiltsey in here. Appreciate you very much. And a lot more viewers and a lot more commenters that I probably missed out on, guys. We're going to get out of here. If you guys don't remember, we've been picking up a Friday show, so watch out for that. That should be our next show that we're going to be doing. It's kind of like our pregame show, especially with Sunday night coming up. There's a lot to get to. Going up against the Minnesota Vikings, welcoming them into Mile High. As Pearl Haters coming in here and saying just win. Absolutely, that's what we're going to be talking about. But guys, watch for all our promos, watch for all our ads. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Again, YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram. Hit us up on Twitter or on X individually. Trevor's out there talking to people. I'm out there talking to people. Appreciate everybody coming in here, being part of the show. Going to try to do this. Make sure you keep your feet in your stirrups. Make sure you keep your guns in your holsters. Make sure you keep the Broncos in your heart. And until next time, guys, we're going to get out of here. Thank you so much. Good night.